a loaf of hope. In the quiet stillness of early morning, in a forgotten corner of Los Angeles where life moved a little slower and old-fashioned grocery stores still survived the rush of modern times, two little girls stood at the counter of a small neighborhood shop. Their names were Olivia and Emma, identical twins with matching braids and eyes far too wise for their 9 tender years. Clutched tightly in their tiny hands were a few worn coins. They had counted them again and again on the walk over, hoping they'd somehow multiply by the time they reached the store. But they hadn't. And now, standing there with nervous glances and hesitant voices, they asked the shopkeeper a question no child should ever have to ask. "Can we take a loaf of bread and pay you later?" Their voices were barely above a whisper, but the weight of their words filled the air. The shopkeeper, an older man with a kind face weathered by time, looked down at them, unsure, caught between sympathy and practicality. He didn't want to say no, but he wasn't sure he could say yes. Just then, the store bell chimed, and in walked a tall man in an expensive wool coat. His shoes were polished, his watch gleamed in the light, and his presence carried an air of wealth and authority. This was Richard Harper, a name well known in business circles. He was a powerful entrepreneur, the kind who graced magazine covers and boardroom meetings, not local grocery store. But today, he had stopped in for something simple, a quick cup of coffee before his next big meeting. As he waited near the counter, something caught his attention. It wasn't the usual chatter or noise of the city. It was the soft, trembling voices of two little girls, asking not for toys, not for sweets, but for bread. He turned and watched them quietly for a moment. Their clothes were clean but worn. Their faces were innocent, but carried the quiet burden of hardship. Something about them, their courage, their honesty, their lack of bitterness, moved something deep inside him. Richard approached gently, crouching to meet them at eye level. "Why do you need to pay later?" he asked, not accusingly, but with genuine curiosity. Olivia and Emma shared a glance, then spoke, their words simple and sincere. "Our mom works all day and night. She tries really hard, but rent is high, food costs a lot, and sometimes we just don't have enough. Some days, we don't eat. Bread is something special for us." They weren't asking for pity. They weren't blaming anyone. They were just telling the truth. Richard didn't speak right away. He didn't ask for more details. He didn't offer a lecture about hard work or charity. Instead, after a long pause, he reached into his wallet. Without fanfare, without drawing attention, he pulled out $2,000 and gently placed it into the girl's hands. "This is for your family," he said softly. "No need to pay me back. Just know that sometimes kindness shows up when you least expect it." The girls stood frozen for a moment, unsure if it was real. Then with wide eyes and tearful smiles, they clutched the money like it was the greatest treasure in the world and ran home as fast as their little legs could carry them. When they burst through the door and handed the money to their mother, she was speechless. She held it in her trembling hands, disbelief written across her face. Then she broke down and cried. Not just from relief, but from the overwhelming feeling of being seen, of being cared for, of realizing that in a world that often turned away, someone had stopped to show compassion. That day, bread returned to their table, but something much more important came with it, something invisible yet powerful. Hope. Hope that things could get better. Hope that people still cared. Hope that even in the smallest, quietest places, miracles could happen. And sometimes, all it takes to change a life is a loaf of bread and a heart willing to give.